That's cool.
The reason I wanted to bring it up so extension of limbs is sort of what John was saying. Like they've taken the same idea and had the ability to do sensory apparatus and picking up balls just by a connection to an electrical interface through the brain. That was sort of the end. Reason I wanted to bring it up with Professor Perez, I think, is one of his favorite scientists now is Miguel Alcubierre, right? Mm-hmm. Well, this particular pioneer in this research field is named Miguel too. Miguel Nicolelis.
You
no
think
relation.
That would matter to him?
He's Brazilian. So, really, maybe some philosophy has come out of France. Philosophy's come out of Germany. Inventions are coming out of the United States. But I tell you what, the Spaniards, whether they're from Spain, the Spanish-speaking folks, whether it's Mexican or Brazilian or Middle American, they're coming on strong.
Something with that language.
Right, something about that language is making it happen.
I don't know about that. I think you're jumping to conclusions there.
Well, that's probably true. So anyway, the idea was, how could this understanding that we have now with electrical signals only being able to control something theoretically on Mars at this point, and knowing that there are speed of light perhaps limitations, but not if we have entangled particles, and could the reports that we have that the little grays, when they're running around, they look mechanical. Some reports, like they don't move fluidly in their motion. I think I've heard reports that they look like they're little robots or little automatons.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people have thought that about them, but you never really know until, we have one study.
Yeah, you cut one open.
Yeah, we don't know until we cut one open.
That's true. Well, they cut that one open when on Fox TV back in the late 90s, and its eyes were just weren't quite right. They aren't the ones that you see people, the big almond-shaped eyes that are perfectly suited, might I add, for a little pen camera inside there. See where I'm going with this? So we have.
You hear a lot of people saying that they have like eyelids and stuff and they blink, but
yes. Why that would be, I guess.
Wipe the camera lens. I don't know.
Wipe the camera lens. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of camera things they don't really clean off. They just kind of. You don't really need to. It's kind of.
So we know, presumably, that we could discover a way to use a brain-machine interface to control an object from literally anywhere in the universe if quantum entanglement, postulating, theorizing here a little bit. Now, how would that being get here in the first place? Here's another idea. There's another thing I came across called a genomic SETI.
I've never heard of it.
A genomic SETI.
Panspermia you've heard of before. The idea that DNA coming from, what is it?
Like an asteroid.
A single asteroid,
yeah. Something.
That somehow all of life on this planet was seeded in, I don't know, either amino acids or DNA structures or something like that.
Yes.
And what we're finding right now is some genes are turned off, some genes are turned on. A majority of them we have no clue. There's only a small little tiny segment of DNA that we've actually, mapped to figure out that indicates what color eyes you're going to have, and this is going to be how tall you are, and so forth.
Okay.
And so, great majority of the guanine, GATA, whatever the four different parts of DNA, RNA are.
Matt?
Yeah. Guanine, alanine, thymine, cytosine.
That's it. GATC.
Yes.
GATC. So,
See, I knew. I knew Matt knew.
You knew I knew.
Kyle, you might as well have a master's degree. You knew where to find the information, and that's all you really learned.
I didn't know any of the information. I don't need to know the information.
Not alanine, it's adenosine or something like that. Alanine's an amino acid.
There you go.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Adenosine.
You could fool me with that, so I could fool somebody else with
yes,
it.
You could. But I have to be right, so.
So we're taking the human-machine interface idea, and now I want to see if we can combine that with a panspermia genomic SETI, the idea being that as an animal develops, evolves, certain genes will get turned on automatically when they reach a certain developmental stage, let's say, in its evolution, at such time that what looks like a dolphin is actually a pre-programmed thing to turn on.
So you're not even going with random chance. You're saying these things were built into the structure to turn on eventually.
Yeah, so that instead of having to travel vast distances, you can use quantum entanglement to kind of, this is where the gaming idea came in, that you can actually game and turn on your little automaton or your little extraterrestrial from a remote location. And these are some of the first studies they did with monkeys. They had monkeys using joysticks. Monkeys were using joysticks to drive things around. That's where part of the study started. So anyway, that's sort of the idea that combining those two ideas, do we have a good enough explanation for either extraterrestrials as they've been reported, or UFOs? How would this?
Not really sure where we're going with this.
Yeah, I was just trying to think.
What kind of popped into my mind was you were talking about like the DNA and how it could be like programmed, and we have a lot of stuff in there that we don't know what exactly it does. And you're talking about different animals, so like maybe they could program DNA to slowly evolve life over time. Is that where you're going with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe like so then. Like, maybe the DNA would create creatures that they could control from a long distance away.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't actually have to travel here. They would just have something. Something would hit the planet, and it would evolve over time, and eventually you just have something pop up where they can control it to make stuff.
That's sort of the idea. Some way besides the traveler
hypothesis. That's thinking outside of the box.
And the AI. Yeah, that's the.
But is that easier? Is it easier to do that than to travel that far, that long, much distance?
Right, you have to travel.
Yeah, if you want to survive it. Most biological things don't survive well in the vacuum of space.
Well, I mean, if you had a spaceship that could travel.
Still, there's a lot of things you have to go through. Like, you have to go around star clusters, around stars, watch out for gamma rays or whatever, assuming that you have the same biology that we do, or a similar type of biology.
Yeah, but we can't really even assume that, because if they grew up on a completely
if you're assuming this panspermia, they would have to.
I suppose.
Part of the genomic SETI theory, as I understand it,
well, I don't think they would. I mean, maybe they just understand how DNA works. Even they might not have to use DNA, though. It could just be something they came up with, like, hey, this is a cool idea. We can make this little DNA sequence and send it off to a planet and have life pop up over there, and then we can monitor it from across the universe.
You ever seen Blade Runner?
No.
It's an old Harrison Ford sci-fi thing, and they end up finding out upon closer inspection of microscopic part of Harrison Ford's blood, I don't remember what it was, has these little symbols on it, like they were actually coded, so it was a little inscribed, like a UPC code or something.
Like a binary code or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And so that was supposed to... What was that supposed to do for?
I want to call this third item. We got the Traveler, we got the sort of the Borg idea, and I'm trying to get the Blade Runner idea.
Blade Runner